Hello, everybody. It is a cold fucking day in places we're at.
Good job not doxing us.
Thank you.
Yeah, places we are at. That is our address. Our addressees.
We exist in a place.
We exist in
Indeed.
London.
Ugh. No.
Oh, Alex, no!
Don't give them like directly wrong information.
We're
Wink, wink, wink.
covering V for Vendetta. It's important.
Yeah.
No,
I was
no.
I
getting to
love
that.
London.
So, V for Vendetta is a movie that I originally had distaste for and have recently rewatched, and I've discovered some
Really?
shining little gems within it about some philosophy and politics that I do enjoy. I still think that it's a bit of a wank fest, and I really don't like the way that some of the relationship shit is angled. Um, this sounds like a conclusion notes, but it's not. It's the beginning.
Yeah, how about
Anyway,
we talk about what the movie's about?
yes, yes.
What is the movie
Considering
about,
you.
Chris?
Oh,
It's your
so
movie.
yeah, damn, is it all gonna be centered on me? I was not prepped. Okay,
Too bad.
so basically, this movie covers the basically um what do you call them? Anarchist vigilante with
I
a
mean,
fetish
vaguely.
for some 16th century bomber.
And also
Uh,
the letter V.
yes, the letter V.
Which,
God, I love the letter V.
I just realized that he likes the letter V because V in Roman numerals is 5, i.e. The 5th of
How did
November.
Yeah.
No,
Fuck!
it's also because it's the Roman numeral of V was on his psych
That's
cell.
not a Roman numeral, it's a
His
number.
what?
Well,
It's a number.
you mean V
Yeah, V is a number in the Roman,
numeric system,
yes.
and you just
Or
said it wasn't a
5.
numeral.
No, I said it was a numeral.
Well,
Oh,
I
okay,
meant
well-
it's the symbol of, like, it's the Roman numeral symbol for 5.
Yeah, the 5th of November. So yeah. He
How did I
is
just
a
make that realization?
anarchist vigilante that is more of like an anti-fascist than a true anarchist in the film. Getting the politics out of the way because that's a whole fucking can of worms. But essentially, the film follows a anti-fascist vigilante's war against terror through the eyes of a downtrodden citizen. I'll keep it vague because it is an interesting movie. I will say that.
Chris, when have we
Um,
kept things vague?
Well, we keep things vague in the opening part, so that way any of the
Ah.
listeners, the 10 listeners.
Yeah, and then
True,
like
true.
30 minutes in, the fucking hat drops and we just don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah, if you're
Um,
still listening to us 30 minutes in, I just want you to know
You're a
basically-
fool if you haven't watched the
What?
movie by then.
I thought you were just gonna say you're a fool for watching. I'm like, bruh.
A foolish fool.
That sounds
What?
Chris.
There's more
Chris,
quality shit out there.
Chris, you can't deny that is absolutely something you would say.
It's something I
I'm
would
not.
say.
I'm just saying that I didn't because I didn't. But it is an interesting film that just explores a lot of false flag operations because that's sort of like, well, not a lot of false flag operations, but it gives you the gist on false flag operations and how violent, religiously fired fascistic regimes usually start, or at least like a semblance or resemblance to those things. Um, it is a pretty good film for that reason. Yeah, I'm running out of shit. Can I fucking
Yeah, you can
transition
just-
well,
over to anyone
well,
else?
we
Off
didn't
mic.
do intros first of all.
What? Well, then why did... Okay. You asked me to introduce the film. Okay, so I'm fucking Chris. That guy...
Hi.
Me.
Yeah, cool. We going well, everyone. Okay,
hi,
I'm Chris.
I'm Alex.
I'm Kyle.
I'm the resident Alan Moore fan.
Uh, Yeah, I'm Kaya. I
More.
just got off of a film set that went on for 7 fucking days and I'm in pain.
7
rain.
days? How are you alive?
I don't know. I'm in pain, man. Everything hurts.
Oh, okay. Anyways, hi, I'm Cameron.
Thank you for your concern, Cameron.
No problem.
Also, before we
I have
thank you,
no
Chris.
notable traits.
Also, I would like to just point out before we get any further, can we take a moment to acknowledge that someone's microphone sounds a little different?
Yeah, I got a new headset. My
Let's
mum bought it for
fucking
me.
go!
I will-
Fucking finally!
Finally!
Man,
Bro
I
sounds
missed the
good.
muffle.
Let's go.
Yeah,
I
I
missed the
actually sound
muffle.
good, and that's good because it's the first episode we're discussing Alan Moore. I'd love to give the every episode shouting out my partner. My mum got these new headsets for me and them, so that way when they're over, I can use some special software and whatnot, so we can both listen to movies on my computer and whatnot, and we can both be in Discord calls with our friends. So that's pretty
Oh,
cool.
awesome.
That
They
is
have,
really adorable.
Yeah,
Fuck
it is.
you.
Yeah. Anyway, these headphones are great. To just not talk about the movie for a second, like these headphones are great because they've got a sound dial on my computer on them, not like a sound dial for the headphone. A sound dial that's connected to the computer, so I can adjust sound with that stupid Windows like balloon thing. I hated that. If I want to listen to a part of the song really loud, I have to. It annoys me. And then also I can pause video. This headset's sick. But yes, I am for once not, funny Mike Schlatt.
No.
I miss it already.
Bring Jay Schlatt back.
I guess considering that I'm here, I'm talking and yapping, I may as well just say my thoughts on the film. I will say, I know I'm the resident comic book fan, but I actually haven't fully read V for Vendetta yet. Watching the film has made me pick up the book from the library, but I am remiss to say I actually can't read all of this in one night, particularly when I'm very tired. So
No, how dare you?
yeah, but I definitely would recommend to anyone to read the comic book. It's a different part because, as I would like to bring up in this episode, that's not as the main conversation, but as a side conversation, would be that the movie, which I think is good, okay, the movie which I think is good is basically a different story to the one that's told within the book, like a very different story with very different uh takes on a semi-fascist government, and I would like to bring my favorite bearded communist wizard's rhetoric into the episode as we discuss the infamous author of V for Vendetta, Alan Moore. But yeah,
we're getting political.
I
Finally.
It wasn't
I will say
already.
though, I did like the film. I thought it was pretty funny. I thought it had some interesting thoughts to it. I thought the action was great, and genuinely, I think Hugo Weaving is the best actor for V.
I love Hugo
The
Weaving.
only one.
Cameron,
Love that
what do you
guy.
think?
I have not read. I've only read Watchmen in terms of previous Alan Moore experience.
I mean, that's fair.
I haven't watched the Watchmen movie, which is why it's on my list, because I both want to torture Alex and torture myself.
I hate you for
Torture
that, by the
all
way.
of us. I also haven't
read
seen
Watchmen. I've read Watchmen for this podcast so that I can experience the same torture with you. All right.
I'm not joining you in that endeavor. I can't read.
I'd already seen this movie before. I was very neutral on it, and sadly the joke doesn't work anymore on YouTube. But there was a video that was just, I think it was like I think it was just called neutral response, where the likes and dislikes ratio just had to be like, were always the exact same. No matter whenever you checked in. That's my opinions on this film. It just feels like, my opinion just feels like a nothing burger. Because I have no swing in either direction whether or not I actually enjoyed the film, or I was just bored by it. it just feels like it tried to like if from what I know about the original story, it's not like this movie. Alex, can you back me up on that?
Well, yeah. Well, I'm not going to delve into too much because I want to have Kaya say her thoughts, but we can delve into that a bit after we discuss our initial thoughts on the film. But I will back you up. As someone who has read like the first 5 chapters of this visual novel, the structure's very different. And from what I've seen from online arguments and Reddit, it appears that
Thank you, Reddit.
V's actions are very different. And from, in the wise words of Stan Lee, if you can't read the comic book, you just should look at the Wikipedia summary. In fact, that's actually better. It's the ending is quite a bit different.
Oh, okay.
But Kaya, what did you think?
Well,
What do you think?
I really enjoy this movie. I have a lot of nostalgia for it. I also have it on DVD. It's one of the few films that I actually did like buy a disc for. For like $2 at Book Fair, but whatever. Thank you, Lifeline. I really enjoy it. I have but more for nostalgia reasons than anything else. I watched it quite a while ago when I still had a good relationship with my father. So
Ooh, that is a long time ago.
Damn, thank you, Cameron.
That really dates that, huh?
Yeah, at least 2017, I believe.
Yikes.
2016, 2017 was when I first watched it. I really like it. I just think it's a fun time. I love the action, like the ending,
Mm.
a lot, and like I don't know. Also, like I don't know, man. I just like it. Okay.
Not fair enough.
Natalie Portman like actually shaved her head for it and everything. Like,
Wait, what?
she shaved her head. Like that. That's not a. It's not a. That's not a bald cap.
Huh. Alright.
And like, so they only
Could've
had like
fooled me.
they only had one take to do it, and yeah.
Huh. That's pretty sick.
Which, yeah, as someone who was literally just on a film set, you never have just one take. It's scary when you can only have one take.
Alright. That's pretty cool.
I mean, yeah, getting into discussion with the film, I think we should start with Chris's discussion on the philosophies of the film and the natures within it, because that probably will spill onto the differences of the book because of Alan Moore's main commentary on what he liked and what he didn't like from the film. Well, actually, it's what David Lloyd liked and what Alan Moore didn't like. Alan Moore is famous
Alan
for...
Moore.
Yeah. I'm an Alan Moore scholar. I love this man. He's so grumpy.
Bro,
He hates
Alan Moore.
he hates every adaptation of his work except for one episode of Justice League Unlimited. And that's not a joke.
Really funny.
Yeah, it's this one episode of Justice League
It's not a
Unlimited
joke, but it's really funny anyway.
It's this one episode of Justice League Unlimited where Superman gets this like alien flower that like it's like a parasite, and it gives him this dream of living a life back on Krypton and having a family there, and in order to get out and actually save the day, he has to actually let the people on Krypton die again, and it ends on him holding his like fake son in his arm, and a hug as a volcano and a meteor and everything come down on Krypton, and he dies. It's really fun. Real fun episode of Justice
Fun
League.
for the whole family.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Alan Moore really loves that. I think I'll start us off with this quote here.
I thought we were starting with.
Nah, let Alex continue.
No. We'll go
We're
to
chill.
Chris, but I think this thing is from this is a text from Alan Moore at the start of V for Vendetta. Now David Lloyd also has one, but it's less interesting. Uh, he
So
basically
fuck him.
David Lloyd, I may mention it, but David Lloyd basically says this book is for the people who don't turn off the news and want to actually see the brutal realism of the world. Um,
Hmm.
but here's what Alan Moore said, and I'll do my best Alan Moore impression. I began V for Vendetta in the summer of 1981 during a working holiday upon the Isle of Wight. My youngest daughter, Amber, was a few months old. I'd finished in the late winter of 1988, after a gap in publishing of nearly 5 years from the discontinuation of England's Warrior magazine. Its initial home. Amber is now 7. I don't know why I mentioned that. It's just one of those unremarkable facts that strike you suddenly with the unexpected force, so you have to go and sit down. Along with Marvel Man, now Miracle Man, V for Vendetta represents my first attempt at a continuing series, begun at the outset of my career. There's also a certain amount of political inexperience upon my part evident in these early episodes. Back in 1981, the term nuclear winter had not passed into a common currency, although my guess about climatic upheaval came pretty close to the eventual truth of the situation. The fact remains that the story at hand suggests that a nuclear war, even a limited one, might be survivable. To the best of my current knowledge, this is not the case. Naivete can also be detected in my supposition that it would take something as melodramatic as a near-miss nuclear conflict to nudge England towards fascism. Although, in my fairness, to myself and David, there was no better or more accurate predictions for our country's future in comic form at that time. The simple fact that much of the historical background of the story proceeds from a precedent conservative defeat in 1982 general election should tell you how reliable we were on our role as Cassandras. For context, I think it was 1983 is when Margaret Thatcher became Prime Minister. Speaking of the old devil, it's 1988 now. Margaret Thatcher is entering her third term of the office and is talking confidently of an unbroken conservative leadership well into the next century. My youngest daughter is 7, and the tabloid press is circulating the idea of concentration camps for people with AIDS. The new riot police wear black visors, as do their horses, and their vans have rotating video cameras mounted on top. The government has expressed a desire to eradicate homosexuality, even as an abstract concept, and one can only speculate as to which minority will be the next to be legislated against. I'm thinking of taking my family and getting out of the country soon, sometime over the next couple years. It's cold, it's mean-spirited, and I don't like it here anymore. Goodbye, England. Goodbye, Home Service, and V for Victory. Hello, the voice of fate, and V for Vendetta. So, Chris,
Yeah.
what parts of the philosophy of V for Vendetta interested you?
I found its perspectives in the final monologue on the train quite interesting and very self-sacrificial, but in a sort of like noble and pragmatic way. For the audience, if you don't want spoilers, skip
L.
past this point or fuck
L.
off.
L,
Yeah.
watch the fucking movie. I don't know why you're here if you haven't.
Yeah, for real. But the idea that the persons related to an ideology should either give up or basically die in order for the idea to die with them so that they don't poison current politics with the opinions of an older time is really interesting, but that is sort of like its own really verge idea, but it also has a precedent in the fact that you won't really be able to restrain an idea based off of a lived experience, especially if it is contradictory to current time politics. And if you continue on with those ideas and those experiences shaping your worldview, you will not be able to interact with the current problem with fresh perspective. it is an interesting idea and true, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's quite interesting. The background of it basically being sort of a Bush era, uh, it's
Yeah,
basically criticizing Bush. It's
yeah.
criticizing Bush because it's like a religious sort of fascistic state. Uh,
I'd say more like
fucking,
neoconservative, but like pushed to the point of the
they
brink.
literally had camps where they made a disease in order to inflict upon their own citizens,
Wait,
like
so wait, when was the book
The book
released?
the
was
book was
the book was done in 1981, and
so
Okay.
like
And then yeah, the movie
fascism
was
and
like
Thatcherism.
2006.
2006. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
right around the corner from
Yeah.
9/11, like 6 years on. So that
5 years
whole
on.
thing, that well, wait, when?
9/11 was 2001.
Oh yeah, okay. Um, yeah, where was I? Fuck.
Sorry, I
Bush
distracted you.
Bush administration.
Yes, so the ideas of basically false flag operations brought up in the film is really interesting in fascist rises to power, and I would consider Bush's America quite fascistic because they
Yeah.
basically managed to start a race war in the Middle East for like 20 years, and a lot of that still goes on to this day. And if you don't think that that's meaningful, then you're kind of blind and poisoned by old politics, which is also the point made at the end of the movie in the train, which I find extremely interesting and relevant. And I might point back to that later as well. But a lot of fascist governments tend to crop up due to one guy being very charismatic and like pointing to one problem and getting people very righteous and angry about it and trying to get people's frustrations on this one issue and then manipulating that behind the scenes in order to circulate power around themselves, which is pretty much what the I forget what his fucking name is, what the Prime Minister, no, not Chancellor, they
Sutherland?
call it Chancellor.
The high chancellor.
I
Yeah,
think
High
his
Chancellor
Sutherland,
Sutherland.
right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what Sutherland did, and it's also what Creedy did, which is an excellent demonstration of fascist rise to power, which is quite an interesting perspective. It's not really philosophy, which was what we sort of marketed this as, but I find it interesting. So, just to
Yeah.
sort of go back, I didn't really think a lot of this film when I first saw it. I thought it was really edgy because we'll probably talk about the bad bits later, but I found it very, very weird with the interactions between V. I liked the external politics. I didn't like the interactions with V and the other lady. I forget what her fucking
Evie.
name is.
Evie.
Evie. Yeah. I find them very weird. Anyway, that's pretty much my bit on the philosophies that I found to be very, I guess, forward and center.
Yeah, I think so the reason why I asked when the book came out was because it's very 1984 like
It does take a little bit of inspiration, I guess.
The
well yeah,
movie
so
does.
yeah, the movie. But I think also like so the book 1984 came out in 1948. And that's deliberate with picking the year and such, like that was deliberate
Mm.
with terms of release. And and then the movie obviously came out in 1984. That was also deliberate. Um, it's yeah, especially in terms of the movie, the visuals are very similar. Um, but yeah,
Mhm.
sort of like combining the sort of point that Chris made about the rise of fascism. My god, it's really fucking accurate, honestly. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, like, as someone who, covered Hitler's rise to power in school and also who has a big interest in Russian history, and like dictatorships in general, they all start out a lot of the time, it, not all of them, but a lot of them. This is a generalization. They also they do tend to start out kind of similar, um, in that they a lot of the time it's a semi hostile takeover, or they take advantage of a hostile situation. The revolution in Russia, and then Lenin dying and Stalin killed the other
Oh
candidate
God,
to take over.
Trotsky. He killed
Yeah,
Trotsky, pushed him off a
yeah,
boat.
yeah. And then in Germany, um, Hitler basically took advantage of the financial issues as well as various other things and used it as an opportunity to call like a national emergency, basically, that basically led him to be able to be like, I have all the power now. And especially with what Chris was saying about being charismatic, it's like, to the German people, he was a very charismatic leader, and he touched on a lot of issues that at the time were very big. I promise you work and bread, and then also just finding a scapegoat, which I'm not entirely sure what the scapegoat in V for Vendetta would have been. Um,
The
Yeah.
scapegoat, I
probably like.
believe, sorry.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
no,
in the
Chris, you.
yeah, you go, Chris. You go, Chris.
The scapegoat, I believe, in V for Vendetta was like gays, homosexuals,
Yeah.
literally anyone that wasn't white, Caucasian.
Yeah, it
Those
was
damn
just like
fa-
anyone, wasn't it?
Because
I mean,
I don't think we saw a single person of color in that film.
We did
no, we didn't.
not.
Yeah, so it was
It is.
literally anyone other than Caucasians.
Like, yeah,
It
like,
is.
not
It
even
is
like
a.
random people in like pubs and shit. Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, no, it's a common thing of fascism. Like, if you actually listen to fascism as itself as a political ideology, is when I say it's hard to define, I don't mean that in like the Trump defender way where like you just turn a blind eye. I mean like it's so contradictory that if you were to try and give it a definition, you'd end up like tying your shoelaces together because fascism always needs a recurring enemy. Particularly speaking, one thing I love to bring up as in like current day neoconservatism and fascism is that Italians weren't actually
Ah,
considered
yes.
white people and neither were Irish people back in the day. But as more and more people, as more marginalized people started gaining more rights, uh, those two groups were considered white, at least up to a point, exclusively so that way they could leverage them being in the in group against the out group. But then, if you were to really pressure any actual fascist, they would say that I don't like Slavs or the Irish are a lesser shade or whatever.
Yeah, cause you like again, it wasn't just homosexuals or Jewish people, or disabled or gypsies. It was Slavs. It was literally just anyone who wasn't like white, straight, cis, like able-bodied.
Mm.
Romani were also heavily, um what's the word?
Discriminated.
Yes, that's the word. Like, literally, when I was in Berlin, we came across a memorial for all the Romani people.
Damn.
Like, we just stumbled upon it.
This was in Berlin.
Yeah, it was somewhere near the Brandenburg Gate in the Reichstag. It's near the Jewish memorial. But anyway.
Yeah, it's very interesting how the film discusses it a little bit, but also at the same time, I do think that it falls a bit into caricature, but also uh I understand for the kind of film they wanted to make, or at least the film they wanted to adapt, they can't necessarily go into all the detail of like fascism's proper rise to power and the intricacies of taking it apart. Like, I understand. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna,
you can only do so much in a certain amount of time.
yeah,
This would
like,
make a great TV show.
ah,
Yeah.
potentially, but I'd say that, um, look, I'll just jump into it because I think it can, the discussion of ideology and neoconservatism, and fascism and everything is pertinent to this film, and I think it's important to understand what the book was going for because quite a bit was changed for the film, and by quite a bit I mean the very root of the issue was changed. Uh,
Oh.
like Chris is right. In this film, it is almost to a point of like you can't argue any other way. This is very clearly an analogy for the Iraq War. Um,
Hmm.
and the film does a somewhat decent job at saying like America's war came to England, and I was like, that makes sense. I mean, I don't really need that explained to me. I've lived in a post 9/11 world. Um, but after reading this, but I'll quote this from Wikipedia because it's, our main source for this podcast. Please sponsor us, Wikipedia. Um,
Not IMDb?
oh yeah, that one too. Uh, um, off. I think that the only person who can properly articulate this is Alan Moore himself because he's a conversation starter. After reading the script, Moore remarked, "The movie has been turned into a Bush-era parable by people too timid to set a political satire in their own country. It's a thwarted and frustrated and largely impotent American liberal fantasy of someone with American liberal values standing up against a state run by neoconservatives. It's not what the comic V for Vendetta was about. It was about fascism. It was about anarchy. It was about England." uh, when he says that, he's not saying that because he's being a prude. He's saying that because when he wrote this book, he was living in Thatcherism, as I mentioned in like that opening text thing. He lived through the entirety of Margaret Thatcher's reign as the Iron Bitch, and I remember I was talking with
Ding
my
dong,
friend.
the witch is dead.
Yeah, I was talking with my friend who is from England and keeps a lot up with English politics. It's
Hey,
still
what's up?
Cameron?
yeah.
Yeah, I was about to
No,
say.
no, not Cameron actually. Different friend. He's
Oh,
the
I
he's
see
the
you're not keeping up with Cameron, are
You
you?
have other friends?
I have other friends, yeah.
Oh
I'm
my
killing them.
god.
You have other
Man.
British friends?
Yeah, his name's Samron, he's great.
I've vaguely heard of Samron.
You'll probably meet him.
I
But
see.
basically, Margaret Thatcher's policy, particularly towards the north of England, was very, very, how would you say, tyrannical and brutal to the point where the north of England still doesn't trust the south of England, even
Mm.
to this day. Cameron can probably speak to that better than I can.
Oh, definitely. Holy. They are
Yeah,
very it what's the good way to put it? Um it's like racism,
yeah.
but yeah, it's
Just
The
call it
they
racism.
they see
It's
they
good
it's
see
enough.
us versus them.
a lot of Southern Englanders apparently see the
The
North as a
the
bunch of
fear
backward
of the
laborers.
other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as far as I remember, and I'll probably get scolded in the comments by someone who knows more about British history, but as far as I can remember, Margaret Thatcher was very anti-union to the point where I think she just would have rather they all get shot. And the
I think
North
she was just
put up,
anti everybody.
yeah, except herself and the royals. Um, and there was a particular big lot of labor strikes that happened in the north of England, and Margaret Thatcher sent in the police and basically the military to deal with a lot of them, and it ended with like a lot of people dead. And that was scary enough. But as Alan Moore also puts, Margaret Thatcher wanted to condemn homosexuality. Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan were the figureheads of what is now known as neoliberalism, and also both of them just ignored the AIDS crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And that played a big part in the book. But another big thing that plays a big part in the book, that seems to play a big part in every bit of Alan Moore's work, as someone who's read like three of his books, is the threat of nuclear war. This is something that I know my parents can speak to, because anytime I bring up the 80s, you get a discussion of how it was kind of hard living in the 80s because you were always told that, they're gonna launch the nukes any day now, which is like, what the fuck?
Ah,
Terrifying.
yes, I love the Cold War.
So,
Ah.
in the book, what happens is that basically there's this great line, which is when Evie is recounting, because in the book, V saves Evie, and then he asks Evie to tell her his story, for her to tell him her story, and she says that apparently the only promise that Labour actually delivered on was getting rid of America's missiles, and everything else they were feckless on, which probably some British people can appreciate even to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and
Thank you, Cameron.
and
No problem.
uh, and basically what happens is that America and Russia go at each other with nukes, to the point where in one of the first like pages of the book, as Evie is recounting her history, she says, "My mother just sat me down and told me that Africa was gone." Yeah, here we go. "It was horrible. Nobody knew if Britain would get bombed or not. I remember Mum saying, 'Africa's not there anymore.' That's all she said. I thought about all the lions and elephants being dead. It made me cry. I was only 7. And so, because of that, England is like the only country that is left. Like, everywhere else is gone, nuked to shit. And because of that, people start starving and getting plagues because they live in a post World War II world, people have globalized, and now with Africa not there to exploit anymore, and Europe not there to trade anymore, England's running out of food, people are getting diseases, there's, you know, effects on the climate. And then because of that, Evie's mother dies of like some disease that has popped up. It's never really said. And apparently, the fascist group in this arises based on a bunch of Nordic Nazis who lived around the coast of England, and I think still do. And specifically, some of the last corporations that are left over help fund them and give them the resources to start Norse Fire, which then takes over England. And specifically, as they say here, starts rounding up everyone who is of darker skin, everyone who is queer, everyone who is of a different religion, and starts chucking them into camps, killing all of them. Same to the movie. But the book is very honest about it. The artist for this, David Lloyd, brilliant art by the way, mentions in his opening scroll for this that uh, he said that this book doesn't shy away from the real horrors of the world and doesn't have any snippy characters in it, which is a bit of a difference from the movie because Alan Moore is known for writing characters who are either traumatized or dehumanized, still making them interesting. The Wachowskis wrote The Matrix,
Yes, they did.
and there's a bit of a dissonance there.
I
I
mean,
think
no
the
hate to the
reason,
A
Matrix,
bit.
but it's definitely not, um, like, where you say, hey, I want to I want to make a movie about this. I did the Matrix. Like, there's not really a connection there.
yeah, I think the Wachowskis did a good enough job. I don't necessarily agree with Moore's take on that the story shouldn't have been updated for the Bush era, because even though I do kind of agree the ending is a bit liberal with just everyone standing in a crowd and then fascism is defeated, um, I do think that in 2006 it was pretty good to at least have some opposing force to the Iraq War. I don't know.
I think for
I
its
do.
time, it's like how like for its time it is definitely like better for like the time period than like if they made a faithful adaptation in
Yeah,
2006.
because it's kind of hard to criticize Margaret Thatcher and the nuclear war like 20 years on from when Margaret Thatcher's dead
I think
and we're all still
also
standing.
I think also because in 2006, especially in America, um like the 2000s in America post 9/11 was very very patriotic. And so even though it was a criticism of the Bush administration, you still couldn't really be super on the nose about it. Like
Yeah,
so like without being accused of being un-American. Like even like I'm gonna bring it back to the 80s and to the Cold War because the Cold War is weirdly one of my special interests. Um, it even to this day, being called a communist in America, especially to the older generations, is a really big thing. And like in the 2000s, it would have been quite similar. Being called un-American was a really big issue back then because you were basically like a traitor, I guess, because of how big patriotism was post 9/11.
Hmm.
yep.
Like 9/11 changed America forever.
I mean, it was what made them create. What was it? Is it the Homeland Department of Homeland Security?
Department of
I
Homeland
believe
Security, yep.
so. Yeah, and also to mention the
CIA extended to the public.
yeah, on the nuclear war front.
Mm-hmm.
Late 50s, I believe it was 1956, between the US and the Soviet Union, the MADS agreement was signed, which is mutually assured destruction, where
Mm-hmm.
basically they were like, we promise we won't start a nuclear war. Um, that was literally it. They were like, we both know that starting a nuclear war would end the world, so we're not going to do it. And they signed a piece of paper that said they weren't gonna do it. And then the world
As
see in I think it was the 80s, it may have been the 70s. The world did almost end because a false alarm was
Yeah, I know the story.
pulled in the Soviet Union where they thought that the US had sent missiles to them and they almost like shot back, quote unquote, because they thought they were retaliating, but the person who had the finger on the button refused. And that's the only reason that the world didn't blow up then.
It is quite shocking.
It is very scary.
Yeah, I
Can you
do.
imagine having your coworker be like, "No, I'm not gonna stop the nukes. Just let him hit." I'm
Yeah.
just not feeling it today, guys.
yeah, just let that shit happen.
I think it
Yeah,
was
honestly, I
because
just feel like
like
killing myself right
I
now, to
think
be
it's
honest.
because they weren't sure whether it was real or not. But because especially like the Soviet Union was very very quick to retaliate, like even more so
You
than
could
America.
say that again. Good lord.
Even more so than America, which is saying a lot for the time.
Yeah.
They because they like even if like there was a I think like even if they thought, oh, maybe there's a margin for error. Like, I mean, to be fair, if someone was sending nukes at me, I would probably send nukes back, you know? Like, if someone's throwing rocks at my house, I'm gonna throw rocks back. Like,
Yeah, but to that end, that's what the original book was written on. And again, I would have liked to have fully read it, but I can't speed to read that quickly, and we had a public holiday on Monday, so I couldn't. I had to go into the Brisbane Central Square Library to find this thing. But it's also on me because I
congratulations,
had.
you just doxed yourself.
Uh, I've named my lecturers in this podcast. I think I did that a while ago.
I
Um,
actually completely forgot it was a public holiday.
yeah, it was public holiday on Monday, so I couldn't
Yeah,
go into the library and get it, which is what I would have liked to have done. But
I
hey,
still had to do shit.
yeah.
Uh,
But I do, as much as I disagree with Alan on certain things about like whether or not the message was there or not, I do kind of get where he's coming from on the whole. They took a story about England and made it about America. Um,
Mm.
which I do kind of find funny. Another thing I've done while looking
oh,
at
you Americans.
The Wikipedia pages sources, is that there's a bit from 2005 where Alan Moore is slamming what he didn't like in the script, and one of it is actually something that's kind of funny, which is they don't know what British people have for breakfast. They couldn't be bothered. Eggy in a basket, apparently. Now, the US have eggs in a basket, which is fried bread with an egg in the hole in the middle. I guess they thought we must eat that as well, and thought eggy in a basket was a quaint and old world version.
I mean, that's a little funny.
It's a little bit funny. But I get where
That's
he's
a
coming
little
from
bit
because
funny.
It's also called Eggs Benedict as an official thing, so they couldn't even get that right.
That's not what Eggs Benedict is it?
it's no,
I'm
that's
pretty
not
sure
what
that's what Eggs Benedict
no,
is.
no, it isn't. As an Eggs Benedict fan, that's not Eggs Benedict.
Eggs Benedict. I swear it's Eggs
No,
Benedict.
no,
It's not.
I will send a picture
I
of
am
Eggs
stupid.
Benedict.
I am so dumb.
Eggs Benedict is good though.
It is.
I love me Eggs Benedict.
Wait, so
But
what was it again that
they eggy
egg
in a basket,
eggy in a
eggs in a basket.
basket?
Yeah, they were like, I'm really surprised they didn't just have beans. Like if I'm thinking of a stereotypical thing that the British people would
I
love
love
for people if it was taken away, it's beans.
I love savory mince for
Ugh.
breakfast. I actually, hey, no, I like savory mince on toast.
No,
It actually goes
I
kinda
okay, I
hard.
do too.
I love me a good savory mince after Anzac Day at the RSL, like after the dawn service.
Average London breakfast.
Anyway, sorry, weird side tangent.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Alan Moore really. I don't know. I get the whole criticism of taking a uniquely British crisis, a story about England, about fascism and about anarchism, and removing words saying this is fascism, this is anarchism, because in the first book, okay, so V for Vendetta is split up into books, which is split up into chapters. All right, in the first book, um, the main leader guy, who isn't Sutherland, it's a different guy who wants to fuck their big supercomputer. Not joking.
Huh?
Um, he has a
Oh?
he's in love with this supercomputer called Fate, which controls their society.
What
Um,
in the Blade Runner?
and
I've never seen Blade Runner.
Lewis Prothero, the guy who does the BBC thing in the movie, he's the voice of Fate. He communicates via radio, and he's actually the first person that V kills. Well, actually, he doesn't kill. He makes him catatonic. V actually kills a lot of people. But
I love murder.
in the first book, the guy says, "I am a fascist. I am very proud of being a fascist. We needed to do what we needed to do. The only freedom left to my people is the freedom to starve, the freedom to die, and the freedom to live in a world of chaos. Should I allow them that freedom? I think not. I think not." And then right after that, V goes up to the statue of, not the Statue of Liberty, the Lady Liberty statue. He goes up to her and eventually and calls her a whore and a slut for siding with fascism, and says that he's found a new madam who he's fallen in love with called Lady Anarchy, and then blows up the statue. I'm not joking. This is like 18 pages of him basically just talking to a statue. He's a bit of a fucking nutter.
I mean,
Uh,
I will. One
Bit
thing
of a
I
freak.
will. One say. Bit freaky. One thing I will
He's a little
say
bit freaky.
is saying I am a fascist and I am like proud. It's giving I am a surgeon.
you're not
It
wrong.
I like as a in like text form it would be fine, but in like film form, I am a surgeon, Doctor Han.
Exactly. It's
I
one of
mean, I
those
get the
things.
point, but it's a little awkward.
I think the movie does a good job with its own depiction of V, but I do think that, Chris, you mentioned some issues with the romance. I think it's because they pulled a bit of that from the book, but in the book, okay, Alan Moore will write a character with the convictions, with such conviction you would think that it's the author's self-insert, but he's just that esoteric. He can just write characters who are incredibly full with conviction and make you believe in them, but he does not share those views. I think I think because he makes V in this book be someone who is willing to defeat fascism at any cost. He's a pure revolutionary, and he kills like a lot of people. Like he uses tear gas a lot. I think at one point he throws Evie out in the street. Like how in the film he's like, "You can leave if you want." Oh no, how in the film she runs away from him. Uh, in the book he just throws her out in the street for some reason. I haven't gotten up to it yet. Um, and that whole thing of him psychologically torturing her makes more sense in the book because up to that point, V has been this very morally ambiguous character. But in the movie, he's, as the director described, no, I think it's a producer who described him as this. He's essentially a superhero. Like he's
I
a
don't like
superhero who's
that.
coming in to like save England.
I don't
Uh,
like it.
I
so
mean,
then
I
when
I will say I never really saw their relationship as like a romance. It it is definitely weird, but I wouldn't say it's that.
He literally said, "I love you" at the end. I don't like it
Yeah,
at
but
all.
like it's not really meant to be like a romantic like relationship.
I feel as though it had the intention, but I guess you can like shirk it to it being like some sort of platonic thing.
Well, it's not that it's there's a difference between writing a romance and writing a one-sided like infatuation.
Yeah, this is a one-sided infatuation.
definitely. Only in the book, it ends the one-sided infatuation ends with like, it ends with Evie taking up the mantle of V as an anarchist revolution starts to take place, and then she takes up a protege of her own, and the legend of V lives on through that, right? But then in this film, uh, it sort of falls into the trope of we've built up this giant fascist government, but we don't have the time nor the spoons to properly tell you how exactly it would be replaced or overcome, so they're just gonna blow up a building and the film's gonna end there. And don't get me wrong, I liked them blowing up Parliament House. That was a pretty well constructed montage. I
I
thought that was
love blowing
pretty
up
epic.
buildings.
God, I love Can Can.
Yeah, the
That's not that's not the can. That's the overture
Good
by what's
enough.
his face where he uses like real cannons like in the orchestra. Yeah,
Oh yeah, that
it was
guy.
for some British king's like birthday celebrations or coronation or something. I think it was written for where they use actual cannons. Hence
Hmm.
why it's in so many explosion scenes in a film. It's an
I like.
overdone trope at this point.
Yeah, but this movie does it really well. This
It
movie
does.
also does the action scenes really well, I think.
Bro, the fucking end the end fight is so good.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
very good. It's very well choreographed.
I also liked. Okay, look, I get Alan Moore's criticism of V being too much like a superhero, but him in a little apron, that was
Look, I just
funny.
can't believe Stephen Fry's a Nazi.
Oh, we got so
I
scared when
cannot
we saw that.
believe.
We got so scared when he was like, "I want to show you something," and we were like, "Oh, he's gonna be a Nazi." And then he opened up his door, and we just saw a swastika, and we were like, "Oh my fucking god, he!" It's like, "Oh wait, no, he's not a Nazi. He's gay," and you
This
know.
is memorabilia of anti-fascist media.
I do think that Alan Moore should have stayed on to act as like a writing credit for the Wachowskis because, okay, look, I don't necessarily think that two people called the Wachowski sisters, who are both trans, would have, shied away from Alan Moore's possible notes they could have added onto the film, right? I feel like if anyone was going to write V for Vendetta and write their own take, I'm at least glad it was two trans women, right? Because they do adapt the story of the lesbian being sent to a concentration camp pretty damn well, I think. That moved me in a special way. And I did like a lot of the small little writing choices here and there with I thought the line of it's not our job to invent lies, the government does that. We just repeat it. I thought that was funny. Haha, Israel-Palestine conflict. Haha.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
Among
yeah.
Us.
Among Us.
Among Us.
Among Us.
Cameron, you haven't spoken for a while. Tell us what's on your mind.
Yap, my lad,
As
yap.
an English person, what did you think of the depiction of fascism here?
Average day in London.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, they just have buildings blowing up all the time over there. It is a regular occurrence.
Man, every day it's like fucking
Love England.
Ouroboros of the fucking like
Love me
Parliament
wife.
House blowing up and being
Hate
built
Thatcher.
again.
Hate the Parliament.
Listen, they just keep like an Amish colony nearby, and every time it blows up, they're on site.
The
One
fuck
day.
you mean an Amish
Chris,
colony?
I don't think you know what the Amish are.
Oh yeah, shit. The fucking Irish and the plague. I will admit.
Okay, hold on.
What did we think of what did we think of Norsefire's evil dastardly scheme?
To destroy the Irish?
To claim power because like in the book
Rang
it
a
was just
roundup.
it was just a bog standard in the book it was just a bog standard fucking like nuclear attack, but in this the Wachowskis invented this intricate scheme of like all these different people and party members who created a plague.
Look, I don't know. I feel
average Australian primary school rang a roundup.
I feel like
They
they
targeted, you
overcomplicated
fuck.
that because they could have just nuked Ireland.
Why are we nuking Ireland, Cameron?
Listen, they need some plausible
No,
deniability.
I'm saying like I'm saying that if in the story they're gonna get rid of Ireland, and in the book they just nuke them, just don't overcomplicate it. We know the reason that they want to get rid of the Irish.
Because they're rangers.
What is that? What is
exactly.
that, Deborah? Oh, you fuck.
I do not agree with any of the things I am.
But yes, this is.
Hey, I've been in Australia for more than 10 years now.
It doesn't make it better. It makes it worse.
I hate the British government.
I've been here 10 years, and I'm still racist.
That's like Irish or Scottish accent. What the fuck?
I don't know. I changed the accent. I don't know.
Oi, Governor Cameron. Give me
Ooh,
more of your
Gav.
thoughts.
You what? love the UK. love me wife. Love me footy. Hate Tories. Hate Thatcher. Love blowing up buildings.
Yeah,
There you go.
boys.
That's my thoughts.
Thank you, Cameron.
No problem.
Who knows? When I discuss Alan Moore in the future, because trust me, that we will discuss
We
Alan
will.
Moore during the Watchmen episode.
Watchmen is on the list, unfortunately.
Well,
We
I mean, yeah,
watch men.
I love
Actually-
watching men.
Ironically, actually,
Me too. Oh boy.
Dude.
I was about to make such a good point.
Pull the brakes, Hoss. Jeez.
Ironically, actually, I think Watchmen.
God damn.
Oh, let Alex speak.
I think actually Watchmen is part of the reason why Alan Moore didn't want to have anything to do with this movie.
Fair enough.
No, because like after everything that happened between DC and Alan Moore because of Watchmen, foreshadowing, he swore that he would never work with the publisher ever again, and then I highly doubt that he was going to sincerely work on V for Vendetta when he said no to adaptations of every other piece of his work. If he ever has to work with DC, I think he'll kill himself. I think he'd actually kill himself. I love jokes online where you just invent the most implausible and stupid situation to put serious comic book characters in, and then you just end it with, and then Alan Moore came to my house and killed me. Hold on, I'm putting a picture of it in there. But anyway, starting with Chris again, what would you rate this movie out of 10, and what character would you give a cookie to?
We've already been recording for an hour. Damn.
I don't know. Fucking. I'd place it higher because of the philosophical things, but it also sucked for like half the movie. So.
So
I
a
mean,
5.
I'll give it a 6 because I'm being kind.
Okay.
That's fair.
And your cookie?
My cookie. I don't like V. Whoever the gay one was.
Oh, look who can't say
No,
fa-
not Nigel Farage.
Was it Sam? Yeah. I'll give him a fucking what's a gay cookie?
A rainbow cookie? A Donny cookie! A Donny cookie!
Yeah, that one. Give him that one. I trust the gay.
It's the most
No, don't trust them.
No.
They're lying to you. You're going to get nuked just like the
What
Irish
are they
now.
lying to me about, Cameron? What are they lying to me about?
Trust your government. Trust your government, Christopher. The
Trust
gays
your
are lying
government,
to you.
guys. You heard it here first, folks. Trust your government. 9/11
Definitely believe
was
everything
done.
that they say.
Among us.
Nothing that I say should be taken as legal advice.
What about
Anyways.
you, Kaya? What do you think?
See, my thing with V for Vendetta is that like it's a movie I enjoy watching, but it's also like it's not a movie that I rate super highly, you know?
Fair
Like
enough.
I watch it for nostalgia more than like anything else really. I'd probably give it a 7, and I'm gonna give Alan Moore eggy in a basket, is it?
I can't wait till we get to Watchmen, and then you guys have to give all the different characters cookies, and I have to tell you how they were bastardized, and you don't actually get it.
I'm gonna give
I
Alan
will
Moore more
understand
eggy
it.
and
I'll
I'm gonna give him
understand
more
it.
eggy and baskets.
It is Alan Moore, the arch hipster. Find out next time
Oh,
on
Don't
this
call him a
this
hipster.
fucking
He'll summon a fucking ritualistic.
No, he's
Listen,
not a
Alan, listen,
hipster, he's a
Alan Moore.
wizard.
If you wanna correct me, come over.
No, hold on. Where's that Alan Moore?
No, he's
This
a wizard.
episode-
Anyway, Cameron.
I'll be honest, my opinion is still very like lukewarm milk. I don't know how to feel about this movie. I feel so unenthused. I would not want to watch this, but I'd be like... Actually, no, I think my opinion of this film has gotten lower. I don't think I want to watch this film again. I've seen it twice now, I don't need to see it again.
That's fair.
Before, oh my god, Alan Moore really does look like a wizard in that. Fucking
Writer,
hell.
wizard,
Sorry.
ball Santa, Rasputin impersonator.
Oh, I think I'm gonna have to give. I'm gonna have to give Stephen Fry. I'm gonna have to give Stephen Fry a cookie, and I need to. He's gotten 2 cookies. Oh my!
If you
Look,
give him
it's
one.
Stephen. Look, it's just Stephen Fry. So, I just fuck. I remember him actually saying what his favorite cookie was on an episode of QI. Fuck. Now I have to remember what it is.
Oh,
Whatever it is, that one.
I loved QI when I
That
was
one, because I
young.
can't be
QI,
fucked to look it
right?
up right
I would
now.
watch it with my grandpa.
Oh god, I love him
That
ripping the
and-
piss out of everyone.
That and Antiques Roadshow. I'm a sucker for Antiques Roadshow. Anyway, Alex.
Roadshow.
I'm gonna give V a Jaffa cake, and no, I'm saving my cookie for Alan Moore till we get to Watchmen.
What is your rank? What is your rating?
6.5. 7 on a good day, probably around 6.5. I'd rate it under Hot Fuzz, but like, it's one of those films where I liked it. I can see the purpose of it, even though I spent this whole movie comparing it to the book. But you know, I mean, if you're going to adapt a comic book, then I have to. It's kind of my whole thing. Even though I compared it a lot to the book, I do get what the Wachowskis were paid to do and what they were getting at. And realistically, as much as I would have liked them to delve a little bit more into V as a character and as a revolutionary rather than sort of a timid romance subplot and make him very revenge focused.
It was also very quick considering the subject matter.
Yeah, I think some of those things may have been a little bit out of their control. I don't necessarily think that a lot of the higher ups who would have been funding this film would have been too glad if V was like if V was just this big old I'm gonna kill everybody kind of guy. It's not very popular. But yeah.
What do
around
you
65.
mean?
I don't think I need to explain myself that a bunch of people in a boardroom don't want to have to make a movie about a guy who wants to kill them.
What do you mean?
But I'm gonna give V a Jaffa cake because that's pretty darn. It's not a cookie, it's a biscuit.
You're a biscuit.
No, Jaffa cakes are cookies technically, but okay, saying that's like saying, you know, is a sandwich a hot dog, you know?
It's
Saying something
not.
is a biscuit and not a cookie. No, okay, all right. Are we having this conversation?
Well, no, it's just
No, because a hot dog is a taco.
Okay, but is a taco a sandwich?
No, because it has 3 sides to it. A sandwich has two sides of like bread, right? A hot dog and a taco has 3 sides.
Okay, but like, what about a wrap?
That's a sushi.
Okay, but like a wrap could be considered a sandwich.
No, it
If you
can't.
sandwich something in between 2 wraps.
Then it's not a wrap.
Yeah, see, no, everything could be a sandwich. Soup.
Cameron,
Soup's a sandwich.
We're a film
Cameron,
podcast, by the
you're
way.
really annoying sometimes. You know that?
Yeah, I'm well aware.
You fucking
Anyways,
British,
After an
British
hour of me,
colonizer.
after an
British
hour of
cock?
me stumbling around talking about a comic book, spinning the
Among
wheel.
Us.
Wheel
Bee,
predictions.
Real time.
A wheel of cock.
Give-
Give me fucking Conan,
Give
goddammit.
me Watchmen.
I'm you know. Okay, I'm gonna have an actual prediction. I think it's gonna hit Drive.
Ooh.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
You
feeling it.
know-
I'm feeling it. I'm
you
feeling
know-
it in my.
You know
I'm
what
feeling it in my legs.
You know what I'm kind of feeling like an actual prediction.
Mm.
Nimona.
Oh,
I have been drawn to Nimona recently. If I had to say something that I would like to see, it'd probably be either the Batman or maybe like Isle of Dogs. I'd be in the mood for either of
I
those.
would rewatch Isle of Dogs, yeah.
I've
Uh,
never
Mine
seen it.
remains fucking Conan.
But knowing how much I've talked about Alan Moore this episode, this is gonna spin on Watchmen, and I'm gonna have to finish my Watchmen reread now and
Yeah.
make a PowerPoint.
I mean, if I was to give like one that I want to see, honestly, not Jennifer's Body right now because I do not have the time, to write an essay that I want to write. I want the dressmaker because I already have an essay already written.
Fair enough.
That I got like an
Right.
80 on.
Chris, because you always say Conan, what's a movie you don't want?
I know what he's gonna
kind
say.
what kind of Watchmen?
Yeah, right. Look,
It's
don't
actually
have to start
not
telling
what
me
I.
twice.
It's
Oh
actually-
my fucking god!
It's actually not what I
Spin
thought.
the shit
It's actually
already.
not what I thought he was gonna say.
What did you think I was gonna say?
My Hero.
Oh god, it's gonna be Oh, thank god, it's not Watchmen.
Yo, we got peak.
Okay,
busted.
that's
We got
actually
I
beat.
good.
busted. Holy
We
fuck.
got
Oh my
peak.
god. Oh my god.
Let's
Holy
fucking
peak.
go.
I'm watching it right now.
Leave me alone.
You do not
Akira.
understand. I fucking own all of Akira. I have it. I have it right next
You
to
have
me.
the manga?
I have all of it.
Akira slide. Alex,
Oh my
what are you
god,
typing?
I'm so excited. What is
Alex, what are you
Okay.
typing?
I typed in whether or not what does Alan Moore think of Akira? Just, seeing if he said anything.
I don't care. I'll fight Alan Moore over Akira.
He probably would like it.
Yeah,
Akira's
most
so
likely.
peak. I've never seen it,
What?
but I know that it's peak.
Oh,
No, okay,
I don't
you'll be
need-
saying it's even more peak
I
once
don't
you've seen
need
it.
to have watched it to know that it's peak, given how many
Save
given
your
how
opinions.
many times people have copied the Akira slide like it's a reference.
It's
Yeah.
funny because we'll have to see whether or not we put in Akira in the Jordan Peele Akira slide tier. Speaking of which,
See,
the
you know what's
next
also crazy is that like so to the viewers, I make the thumbnails and I do all the editing and stuff. When I make the thumbnails, I always go to Film Grab first because they usually pick good shots. For Akira, they had it because a lot of times they don't have like half of the movies on the list, which is weird. But they didn't have the Akira slide. I had to Google it.
Look, I don't think they had it because every frame of that movie is just some of the best art I've ever seen in my
I will
entire
say,
life.
like, the only scene that I've seen from it is the one that's kind of traumatizing.
Which one? Do you have any idea how little that narrows that down?
Blob.
Glob?
Blob.
The Blob?
I
Again,
don't know how to. I don't know how to.
yeah, okay, I think I know which Blob you're talking about specifically, but like, yeah.
avoiding
Expanding.
avoiding spoilers because we don't spoil it preemptively. But
Yes, we do.
But just to let the viewers know, the next episode you'll be receiving potentially will be a tier list episode.
I want to watch Akira.
The next time we see you, you will be receiving.
Oh,
Well, you'll be receiving, but also it'll maybe a little bit of a longer bonus episode because we're gonna have to argue about where we're gonna put all these movies on our tier list, and then reassessing the ones we put there anyway. And I will stand on business. Sharknado 5 is not fucking moving.
Now, why is that, Alex?
It's in the bottom of hell for a reason.
You know what's crazy? A Knight's Tale seems so long ago.
I mean, it was like 12 weeks ago. And with that, we will wish you guys Very safe travels. Stay safe out there. Be cool. And yeah, watch movies.
And Stan Alan Moore. Goodbye.
Stan Alan Moore.
And goodbye.